Glasstown by Isabel Greenberg is her second graphic novel that came out in 2020. Isabel Greenberg is a British cartoonist, and I became aware of Isabel Greenberg from my friend Richard Hind in the UK. He had finished her most recent graphic novel that came out in 2023, The Encyclopedia of Early Earth, and he really raved about her just in general being a cartoonist. So my local library had a copy of Glasstown, and I thought I would check it out. So Glasstown is a story, it's historical fiction, based on the life of the Bronte siblings, which are Charlotte, Emily, and Branwell, their brother. And it takes real life events, and she does that historical fiction thing where these are real events, but these events take place within those historical events. And essentially what happened is that in their teens, the four siblings lived on their father's estate, and their father had access to a lot of books, a large library in the house. So they were all very well learned, very much into the arts. And on one of their father's travels, they were given a set of, let's say, 12 like wooden soldiers, and then they got the impetus to create a fictional world, a fictional land called Glasstown. And they inhabited with characters, a story. Eventually, two of the siblings would kind of like go off and in this universe create their own land. And there's like palace intrigue. One of the main protagonists here, or antagonists actually, takes over and colonizes a colony. It's supposed to be like an African colony, much like the British did. And then the leader of that colony wants to kind of take back the land. But there's, more importantly, there's a lot of interspersing this rich fictional world, which is so rich and so abundant. It's actually more appealing to most of the siblings than the real world, because remember, in this time, women were relegated to be teachers, homemakers, maybe you could aspire to be a governess, and that was about it, unless you married into royalty. And so the characters, especially Charlotte, found this world much more interesting. And you see this almost, there's this interesting play that's done between not what's real, what's not real. You know what's not real and what's real. It's almost like how much more interesting the imaginary is. Nowadays we would call this fan fiction. But it's a really solid book. The art style is kind of scratchy, almost more implied than what's really there. It's not, but I mean, I wouldn't say Eddie Campbell, but it kind of gives me a little bit of Eddie Campbell vibe. The color selection, the color palette are amazing, especially her use of reds and oranges. Just beautiful colors. Richard had told me that you could probably pick some colors out of this book and say, yeah, I want to like get like an interior designer and like base it off this color or use these colors. The colors in this book are just flat out amazing. And so the story is actually quite interesting. You both get not only involved in the world that they create, but you actually get involved into the sisters and Bran, the brother. It's almost like there's two sets of characters. There's the characters in the real world, and there's the characters in Glasstown. And there's also the interesting interplay between the characters in real life dealing with their imaginary characters that they're creating. I don't want to give a lot away, but this is just a solid, excellent graphic novel. And the second half, I would say, features a lot of Charlotte having to deal with her regular life being not what she wants. She wants to aspire for more, and actually having a hard time getting away from this imaginary world. I just love these oranges and red. These are hard colors to do right in graphic novels. It's just really gorgeous. Printing is excellent here. Great story, well written. I would highly recommend this to anyone. I think Isabel Greenberg, I know that she's been a cartoonist for many years, so I feel bad that I just found out about her now. But she's quite good. And this book physically is just really well made. This is from the library, so the dust jacket cover is like attached to the book. But I'm hoping that you could just see, this is the book without the dust jacket. I mean, this is just, hardly anybody does this, where they just put this much time and effort into making this beautiful book that you don't even need the dust jacket. But it's like I said, it deals with a lot of like almost, there's an under, and it's not, and nothing's very overtly stated. Like you're not having somebody say, "Oh, I find this real world much more interesting because I'm limited in what I can do in, today as a woman." But you get that vibe and you get that idea and you see it. It's done clearly. Like I said, this is a very subtly written, sophisticated graphic novel. Art fits perfectly with the story. I'm going to read her next book, the book that just came out, and I'll seek it out. But if you can find this book or any of her other works, I think you should really take the time and read them. This is a more languid book. It's very similar to when you do these period piece movies from this era, and everything takes a lot longer and people speak a lot more slowly and people are not as rushed because back then you didn't have to be. It kind of has that vibe. I mean, it's not slow and plotty. It moves, but it has a certain pace and a certain tempo that really fits this time period. And like I said, the art is just great. It fits the book really well. The colors are phenomenal. I'm a sucker for nice shades of red being done in a graphic novel. So I was trying to pick this up. If I could, I'd read it. She's someone now on my radar, and I'm looking forward to reading more of her. So hope you enjoyed this quick look at it. Highly recommend this. I want to thank Richard again. And since everybody has marching orders, I'll give you mine. Read better comics. Read comics like this. Don't read the bad comics. That's not going to get you anywhere. Read better comics. Thank you.